Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha, the God, man. We just read on Ordinary chapter 281, no, 181. And yeah, I decided to fast pass the bitch, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? Yesterday I didn't really have anything to upload, and like, you know what I'm saying, today I just uploaded that new Lucasm, so make sure to check that out. But I'm gonna fast pass all of Unordinary. I'm gonna do one today, one tomorrow, and one the day after, and then continue once a week, and then probably fast pass a few other stuff, you know what I'm saying. But this chapter was really interesting. It really gave us a full insight of Claire and John's relationship. So what I found really intriguing was John was a cripple, so obviously that, well, he thought he was a cripple, and that's what allowed him to be able to be so good at acting as a cripple for so long, because essentially he might as well have been one early out in his childhood. And it wasn't, and the thing is, Claire and Adrian, his two best friends at the time, Adrian especially, considering they were friends before he became friends with Claire, and Adrian tried to protect them, all the time. So if he was the strongest out of them, and John could fight, but he didn't have any powers to assist his strength. He's physical, natural physical prowess. And that's what made it really interesting, because Adrian would take probably most of the beating because of that, right? And whenever they felt like, okay, we're gonna lose this battle, they it seemed like they had a tactic to just concede and make it look worse than it is, so that they could be let go. Now, John did not believe in the situation that they were, and he didn't believe that how can we be forced to just accept this BS, like, you know what I'm saying, like, to stay lower, right? He got that revolutionary mindset. He got that, I want to say that Malcolm X type mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, we got to fight back. Like, we can't just accept whatever situation they placed us in just because it's the way of the world. Like, that's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stand up and actually do something about it. So John believed that pretty early, but you can kind of tell from his eyes and the rage that he was a ticking time bomb, man. He was a ticking time bomb. Now, Claire, being his friend, was like, wanted to help him, to feel useful, right? Because obviously Adrian was doing most of the heavy lifting for them, and John wanted to be the one to do that, it seemed, right? So, when she finally got a vision, because her power was visions, right? So she can see the future type shit a little bit, not to the extent of Seraphina where she could actually do something about it, but she could see the future, you know what I'm saying? So basically, she saw that John was using an ability, so she told John about it. John didn't believe it, because obviously he's been technically a cripple his whole life, and he didn't know any better, and he was just like, damn it, if only I had power to fight back against these mongrels, you know what I'm saying? These goddamn, power hungry bastards, right? So he tried to practice and train it, and it just wasn't happening. But then one day, one of the typical bullies attacked them and beat them up, and John just wouldn't go down. He just wouldn't stay down. You know what I'm saying? He kept getting up, he kept wanting to fight back. Fight the power, as they say. You know what I'm saying? So what happened then is, the guy used like a blast ability, and John copied it and did it back. Now, obviously, he wasn't good at it, and your man dodged it and beat the shit out of him, but he was ecstatic. I finally got powers. I can finally learn how to be useful. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure post this next chapter, etc., John probably trained like crazy in order to get his ability to such a high level that he's now an ace, right? And that's the thing about it. It doesn't justify what John has done, but it does definitely add some context to how John ended up becoming a tyrant. But it's also it's realistic, to be honest. In real life, a lot of people that got bullied end up being bullies at a workplace. You know what I'm saying? So somebody who was bullied as a kid or as a person or in school or whatever, when they become a manager, they start bullying the people that used to bully them. So they start abusing power like those people who were stronger than them abused their powers, right? It's a never-ending cycle, and John caught himself in this cycle where he was abused when other people had powers, and now he's abusing other people now that he has powers. So, look, I don't think it justifies it, but it definitely adds some context that, allows us to know. Now, I don't feel like we learned anything too new in this chapter. I think we kind of knew that the situation was something like this, but it's definitely good to get a confirmation of exactly what occurred and how John got his powers. And yes, Claire was definitely responsible. I think if Claire never suggested it, I don't think he would have ever tried to beam blast the dude at that moment, right? And him beam blasting helped him discover that, oh, he can copy people's powers as long as it's visible. So he can't copy Claire's powers. He can't copy certain people's powers because they have no visible aura or something that indicator of them using their power. So therefore his power can't do that. He's kind of like a chameleon. He got to see it in order to adapt to it. You know what I'm saying? If he can't see it, he can't adapt to it, which is good because it sets some reasonable limitations to his power. So he doesn't have Claire's ability of seeing the future, and you know what I'm saying, and all those other stuff. Now, it seems like he can't store powers for too long. As we've noticed, he can only store powers for a certain length of time. So, that's another weakness of his. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see. But he's definitely a maniac, at least now, currently, in the current timeline. He's definitely, I think, just lost the plot. And, it's not the first time. It seems like he got power hungry then. And to be honest, I can kind of tell, even if I could kind of tell there was something kind of wrong with him back then. And it's not his fault fully. I think definitely the people provoking him were the prime cause. If he never got bullied, there'll be less of a chance of him becoming so power hungry. But at the same time, we never know. If he was born with that power, he probably wouldn't be friends with Claire, and he wouldn't be friends with Adrian, and he'd probably be one of the bullies too. That's the thing. Like, it's easy. Not easy, but when you're looking at from one side of things, it's easy to say, oh, I would never abuse my power. But John proved it, right? As soon as he went to the other side, he began abusing his power worse than the people that abused their powers before. That's the thing. John doesn't just do things, right? Just like his power, it's kind of interesting, actually. It's almost like a play on his power. He enhances the ability that he takes and makes it even stronger, right? The same way that he enhanced what people did to him and did it worse. So he became a bigger tyrant than the tyrants and the scoundrels he was against. He became worse than them. So it's like, who you fighting against, right? He's really fighting against himself. And I think upon realizing that and him going through the trauma thing that by that doctor, that police officer guy that gave him PTSD, and I can't really blame that person for doing his job or for trying to make John realize his negatives, because John did that to himself with his actions. You know what I'm saying? His action deserved a severe punishment. Now, those other kids also deserve punishment, and society overlooked what they were doing. Teachers and schools overlooked what they were doing and just called it a natural part of reality, I suppose, right? And I suppose the same problem with this school, the new school that he's at, is people just said, yes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Although, to be fair, people like Arlo tried to make the school as nice as possible. You know what I'm saying? But the problem was that he can't see everything. He's not omniscient. He's not omnipotent. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have eyes all around his face. You know what I'm saying? Whenever he saw fights, he'd stop it. Whenever he saw negative shit, he'd stop it. But whenever he was around, people would normally just not do that shit. You know what I'm saying? But he can't always be around. You know what I'm saying? He's only one person. And if you look at it, half of the royals weren't doing the jobs. Seraphina left her position completely. Alright, so it was all up to Arlo, which left Arlo in a hard predicament, which ended up pushing him to get John to take responsibility as well. Because Arlo doesn't mind doing work, but he feels like people in high power have a responsibility to take care of everybody else, while John feels like nobody has a responsibility to anybody, and that, basically the power hungry just shouldn't crave upon the weaker, but yet he does the exact same shit himself. I don't know, it's just weird. It's an interesting thing, but it's definitely a realistic situation, and one that I like that the story delves into it and in such an interesting way, because it's not so black and white. John isn't just pure evil, although he might as well be, but what led him to that is other people, and himself, he has to get some blame. He's at least 50 to I'd even give him 60% of the blame. You know what I'm saying? Because Claire and Adrian were getting mollywopped too, but they ain't turn out like that. You know what I'm saying? Claire can see the future, my nigga. Like, if she really wanted, she could probably finesse all of them and become a worse tyrant because she can see the future. She can build up, which to an extent she did, but she didn't think John was gonna be that goddamn fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, man. I love the chapter. It was a great chapter. Anyways, been your boy Supreme Chi the God, man. What do you guys think of the chapter? Do you guys have any thoughts about John and the whole situation with Claire and Adrian and the backstory and all that shit? Shazam, do you guys think that the story is telling an introspective story that I think is telling about just people and human nature and all these other things, and that John might actually not turn back good? You know what I'm saying? That might be a part of it. Like, some people just can't be saved. Once they go dark, ain't no turning back. You know what I'm saying? So what do you guys think, man? Make sure to leave a comment. Make sure to leave a like. We're on the road to 300 subscribers in this month alone. 300, man. Come on. We're only 13 subscribers away. I know we got this shit. So make sure to turn on your Sharingan just for a second and Genzo to that goddamn subscriber. And then when you're done, leave a comment, leave a like, or a dislike, depending on how you're feeling. It's been your boy Supreme Chi the God. Ratata. I am out.